But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
And we're back with the booty.
And the beast.
I started it this time.
You did. I told you to start this time. We should put that in there so people know what's up. Last week we had Mark Glazer. This week we have
Brett Wilkin.
That's right. IFBB Pro walked the stage at Columbus across the Arnold stage. I can't imagine what that would feel like.
I can't either.
I've never even walked across a stage besides a pro wrestling stage, which I'm one of the best in the world at. But,
Oh, of course.
But I can't imagine what it'd be like. I mean, great conversation with Brett.
Oh, amazing. Definitely.
What'd you think of him? This is the first time you've actually, I mean,
yeah.
we met him at the Olympia. I don't know if you remember. It was brief. We were so
really
busy.
brief, yeah. I mean, I feel like the Olympia was just like a blur.
We
met so many people. Like, you tell me all the time that we met this person, and I'm like, well, I met a lot of people at the Olympia.
We met a few people at the Olympia, and we're going to meet more people at the Olympia there next year as we go to Vegas for the Olympia. But Brett, we wanted to come on. He's an official athlete of Fit Brothers. He's actually technically, I mean, really our only athlete. I guess you could say Christy also as well.
Yeah.
He's our most accomplished athlete.
Yeah, I would say
Sorry,
so.
Christy.
Yeah,
You gotta
Christy,
that
you'll
Olympia
get there.
stage.
You'll get
Yeah.
there. I have faith in you.
Which, speaking of Christy, I think she's the next guest on the podcast.
She will be, yeah.
So our next guest, Christy M. Sandy, how do we describe her? Because to a lot of people, she's unknown.
Oh, yeah. But she is I would say she's an elite athlete. And,
Oh, yeah. An elite bodybuilder. She's a bikini
reaching
girl.
for the Olympia stage this year. And she did tell me that she feels like this is probably one of the toughest years to qualify. So we'll see how she feels. I'm excited to talk to her about all of that.
She just needs to go to fucking wellness, and we're going to have that conversation. I can't wait.
Well, she doesn't like any other look besides bikini.
Well, she has a wellness look, and I'm going to tell her, she's going to sit right there, and I'm going to say, Christy, you can win wellness.
I love that what she told us last summer, she's like running to break down muscle because they tell her that her legs are so thick, which is awesome. Like, in my mind, I'm like, girl, be proud of those proud legs. But in bikini world, that's not what they want.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting because I think she's got some probably horror stories and share stories of what it's like for a competitive female bodybuilder. She's traveled to Mexico. She's traveled across the country competing, trying to accumulate enough points so she can qualify for the Olympia and become one of the 75 women in the bikini class.
Amazing.
It's amazing. It's also way too many, but I totally get it.
I know.
But let's revert back to men's open. Brett Wilkin, he finished sixth at the Arnold. He explained his placing, which I thought was a very well done explanation.
Oh, definitely.
He wasn't mad. He understood that he placed the way he did, so we'll talk about that. You guys watching or listening probably are looking like, hey, did we get some drama out of Brett? Because it seems like drama has followed Brett in 2022.
He's such a genuine, humble dude.
He is. He's a genuine, and like, I'm not trying to poke the bear and get that information on him because it's none of my business, and he's not that type of person. Drama surrounds him, but not because of anything he particularly did. It's others around his life. So very good to have him on and just let people know about him. He's making the move to Florida to be closer to his coach, Matt, and his team down in the like Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area.
And making some great moves, not just for bodybuilding itself, but it sounds like he's
smart. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's thinking about life after bodybuilding, and he's making moves down there because he knows what Matt and Dom and that team are invested in and what they're,
capable of.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean,
right? Like I see some great things coming. So
we'll definitely need to get to that conversation. It's I don't know, 35, 40-minute conversation. I enjoyed it. Teaser, we are working with Brett on something on Fit Brothers. Hopefully it comes out here later this year. I think he maybe alluded to it a little bit in the conversation. He also alluded to it on his social media over the past week. They call him the Butcher. So if we can work for something and work on something for him that makes sense, we definitely will. But we're back with a flavor review, a taste test. The all rebranded Supremos is coming back from Miracle Labs, including a new flavor, 19th Hole. Now, 19th Hole, if you think about it, probably reminds you of golf. So like the Arnold Palmer, right? Arnold Palmer is lemonade and sweet tea. Are you an Arnold
I used
Palmer.
to have them all the time. I would make them myself when we went to like restaurants and stuff. So
Wait,
yeah.
hang on. So you went to a restaurant, ordered an Arnold Palmer, and then you would go behind the bar and make it yourself? Hey, I used to make them myself. When we go to restaurants, I'd make an Arnold Palmer for myself. Did you get tipped?
I'm talking like the fountain
yourself?
places. Okay, that makes me sound really gross, but like I'm talking like when you go to
the fountain places,
like the ones that have like fast food restaurants. I have like the one.
Wait, you eat fast food?
Back in the day, I did.
Could have fooled me. One scoop.
No, I would not.
A bunch of different water here. Supremos, let's talk about the formula on this real quick. I actually like this. So Doug Miller Enterprises has this formula out. It is your EAA formula. So you're going to get 211 BCAAs. You're getting 7 grams of branched chain amino acid, and you're getting a bunch of the essential amino acids, the EAAs, for the total of 9 essential amino acids. What a lot of brands will do is they'll give you 8 essential amino acids. They're not even giving you a full EAA profile. This also includes 2.5 grams of taurine, which taurine helps regulate electrolytes. It includes Aquamin at a full gram, which is amazing. And then you also have your electrolytes. So you have sodium citrate, you have magnesium glycinate, and potassium chloride. There it is. Okay, I thought so. So 19th hole. This is coming out, I think a week from Monday. So a week from yesterday, which would be the 17th. No, today's Monday.
Today's Monday.
Today, so it comes out a week from this recording. 1 sip. Y'all know the rules. Arnold Palmer is the proper name. It's called 19th Hole, mixed between sweet tea and lemonade.
Cheers. 1 sip. Y'all know the rules.
I just said that.
I know, but I have to say it.
Drink. Chug it. Ooh, that's good. Mm-hmm. That is really good.
It is.
Teach me how to Dougie, Doug. That's good. I didn't know if I was going to like this much that. I've had like Arnold Palmer's before. I think they have an Arnold Palmer in their zone, their core zone. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because it's better because I don't think the ingredients have such a... It's easier to flavor a BCA product, an electrolyte product, than it is a nootropic. Mm-hmm. Damn, that's
really good.
Like now I just want to look outside. We live on a golf course, for the record. So if we turn the camera, we'd show you.
We saw golfers yesterday.
Yeah, but we're not golfing at all, and we haven't golfed. But anyway, like now it's just like this on the deck with a barbecue or in the gym.
The summer will be great.
Ooh, it's bomb. Doug Miller, good fucking work on that one.
Killer.
That is really good. All right, 19th hole, Arnold Palmer, the newest flavor, Supremo, is coming out a week from today, America. Labs. Today, I believe they have their new Patriot Pop coming on the core line, and they have just a bunch of stuff. If you probably saw on the FitButter side of things, we have teamed up with Doug and the Arms Race Nutrition team to relaunch a reformulated version of our s'mores peanut butter.
Super excited.
We're
I
very
honestly,
excited.
I liked s'mores before. I think this is a little bit of an upgrade. Personal opinion.
Yeah.
But
great.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
So we're using their foundation protein and s'mores. And then we have some other ones in the work with Doug as well, an Arms Race that we can't talk about yet. This podcast is probably going to come out today or tomorrow. I mean, we get them, we just edit them and put them up when we can. There's no like consistent schedules. I mean, obviously weekly is what we want to go with. Wednesday, the 12th, 13th. Yeah. No, today's the 11th. So yeah, Wednesday 13th. The 13th at 10 a.m. we will be going live on the Instagram and announcing our May launch, which, I mean, s'mores is most likely going to launch in May too, but since that's a reform, it's not, you know, we're not going to like blow it out of the world.
Big launch.
But we do have a big launch, a unique flavor, a unique combination of nuts.
Oh, yeah.
My nuts and Danny's nuts in one jar, and it's flavored to perfection. It is going to be good. So 10 a.m. IG Live at FitButters. You guys will get the newest flavor information.
And it will delete after, so you need to be there.
Yeah, it's like sending one of those tweets that you wish you could delete. Well, this is actually going to delete. Right away. So if you don't catch it, we're not going to talk about it again. We are not going to talk about it again until we get closer to launch date. I will say this. We will be making the flavor here soon at our manufacturing facility here in Northeast Minneapolis. We're excited about it. Every month from here until 2023, we have something, y'all. Something.
We're trying to figure out when we're going to launch everything because we have too much.
Yeah, it reminds me. I have to go back and sit down and do a calendar now.
Shifting things around.
I can't stop drinking this.
That's on our list for to-dos today is like make an actual calendar of when to launch our mini flavors we want to launch.
And we have to make samples of those flavors, ship them out, to our partners. I mean, in just the last week alone, I shit you not, we've come up with like 6 flavors.
It's been amazing. I don't think we've ever R&D'd multiple days like we have this month.
It's been fun. Like I haven't had fucking time while you were being a nurse. It's like when you used to have days off when you were a floor nurse and you'd come in, like we would R&D at home. And then you worked a Monday through Friday gig, and then you didn't have that time.
And then when the weekends with the girls, it's like we didn't have any time. It was insane. But then again, now I feel the same.
Well,
like I feel like our list
now
just
you're getting
ends
paid
forever.
to R&D. You're getting paid to talk Fitness Informant, to talk to people like Brett, to talk to people like Mark Glazer. Speaking, if you have not listened to the Mark Glazer podcast, please go back and listen to it. Powerful stuff. I know there's been quite a few downloads on that, but there's a side of Mark Glazer that we see that you don't typically see. I'm a big fan of that. Also, I just noticed on this table right now, we have hydraulic right there.
Oh, yeah.
Max and Sledge. I mean, I love that pump. I'm going to bring that shit upstairs and put some of ours in here. All right. If you like the podcast, hit the subscribe button. Write us a review. Helps out the algorithm so more people can find the Booty and the Beast podcast. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, however you listen to your podcast. You can watch it via YouTube. FitnessInformant.com. @FitnessInformant is our social media handles on all different platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, which we will be doing a TikTok again this week as well. So we're going to shut up, hand it over to 6th place finisher at the 2020 Arnold. He's going to be doing a bunch of more events this year. Don't think he'll be competing at the Olympia, but he will be at the Fit Brothers booth at the Olympia this year, hopefully with a special project that we're working on him with, probably an hour or 2 hour time window, signing autographs, shaking hands, kissing babies, all that good stuff. So we're excited to do that. So
it'll be great.
All right. You ready to do this?
Oh yeah. Let's go.
Let's go.
For the last 2 decades, we have been the best kept secret of the supplement industry. We've kept our heads down and worked. We pioneered full label transparency and full therapeutic doses because we believe that truly hard work requires truly effective tools. 2 decades is a long time to commit to one pursuit, but when you act with purpose and become centered in yourself, eventually you realize that you were born and bred for this. The things you once thought impossible, you now do every day. We don't like the easy way, it just doesn't feel right. We'll take the long, hard road over a shortcut any day. It takes longer, sure, but in the end, you know you earned it. And with the right team behind you, pushing yourself further than you've ever been would be just another afternoon doing what you love most.
Adding my product is going to help you get to where you want to be.
5%ers is 5% of the people in the world that are willing to do whatever it takes to reach their goals. Come on, we're talking about business, success, education, willing to do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
most humble people in the world of bodybuilding, which I mean doesn't always exist. Brett, you're too kind. I mean, we just had Jay on 2 weeks ago, and he had nothing but nice things to say about the young generation of these up and coming bodybuilders, you and Hunter and Nick and all these guys who are coming in and injecting themselves into the sport, taking on the old timers, the Bonacks, the Brendan Currys, the Big Ramis. So to have a 4-time Olympia champion like Jay Cutler sing your praises, it's got to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, and we all know Jay's just really good at what he does, man. Like, I think he's probably the best ambassador I think there is for the sport of bodybuilding, just because of his involvement. You know what I mean? Like, he's still, like you said, he's jumping on podcasts right and left. He's traveling to all these expos. He's talking about bodybuilding in good light. He's talking about the guys coming up to give them, some showtime, some FaceTime to the public. So it's just good to, it's always good to hear from him. It's always good to see him. And just a great guy for our industry for sure.
Who's your favorite bodybuilder of all time?
He's definitely up there. I would say, probably Phil.
You have to say Phil. You work out with Phil. If you walk into the gym and you didn't say Phil, he'd probably try to level you out.
Oh, no, he wouldn't do anything. But it's just more of a personal preference because, I've created a relationship with him. I've been fortunate enough that I've heard stories. I've kind of dived into his career, know things that no one else knows in regards to what he dealt with through those titles and stuff. So just because we're more on a personal level, it just makes me, respect him even more because I know how he carries himself. He's never been someone, he's kind of just always done it by himself. He always trained by himself. It was just that lion mentality and stuff. So he was definitely probably my favorite all around bodybuilder. Just bodybuilding physique wise, you can't go wrong with Ronnie, man. Like, I think obviously Ronnie's the all time greatest. Like, if you just grabbed everybody at their peak and lined them up against each other, I think Ronnie would probably win that. But overall, all around, it's more a little bit more Phil,
I was going to ask you who is better, Ronnie or Phil, but I think you just kind of answered that, but in a different way, right? Right. Will we ever see another Ronnie, a Phil, that type of dominance in the sport ever again?
I don't know, man. That's really, it's hard to say never ever because we don't know what the future holds. But just how, here's my opinion on things. Like, just because now there's so many different divisions and stuff, it's just like we might not ever see that, but just because they aren't forced to do that. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is there could be some freaks of nature in the future that could be as good as Ronnie or as Phil, but they never reached that level because they didn't have to. They went the route of classic physique or men's physique and stayed there and didn't push there, which is smart. In regards to maybe health wise that because look at Ron now. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of what you're shooting for. But back then, that's the only mentality they had. It's like all there was is a bodybuilding category, and you had to do those things to reach those levels. Mm-hmm. Now you don't necessarily have to do that. You can, I wouldn't say you take an easier route, but maybe take a smarter route, or what's more comfortable for you. Your drive and everything. But I think it'll be really hard to see anyone as dominant as Ronnie and Phil were for sure. I think maybe a couple more 4-timers or 3-timers, but just I don't think there'll be a 7, 8, 9 like that ever again. It's
interesting that you bring up the old school mentality because Jay was talking about the whole cheat meal mentality now with the younger generation. Like we didn't have cheat meals back in the day; they just didn't exist, And so we were talking about overall health and wellness of bodybuilding. He's like they're just doing things differently today than we did back then, which I think is great. I mean, Jay's being open about certain subjects in the sport that he once upon a time was not, which I think is good in terms of educating the youth and educating people who strive to be at your level. Does it surprise you to see Jay, a great ambassador of sport, being open about enhancement and about other things that occur within the sport?
Yeah, and I noticed that too. He's a little bit more open about what goes into it and the things he had to do. And I think it just reached the point he had to. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to be as much of a figure on media as he is, you have to eventually be open about these things. And I think it's a good route that he did so, because then you look at the guys, I think he even talked about this the other day is he's the Mike O'Hearns and things like that. Just you gotta come out and be real with your following, you know what I mean? Or be real with the fans. And it doesn't mean you need to go in depth on everything. That doesn't mean at all. But you just got to be honest and make your point and then move forward. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad he is doing that. And he's just doing it the right way where it's I'm not going to tell people exactly all the things I did, and like, because then it gives, you know, the younger generation, you know, gives them a bad idea of what it takes, you know what I mean, like that. But I will, you know, I will discuss that what, you know, what I've done in regards to generalization, and, you know, make sure that you guys are making the right choices on your own.
Well, the thing too with you, and we obviously are good friends with Matt and Dom. Like, you have good people in your corner that whatever you need to do to get to that next level, it's being done in an educated, safe manner. Like, I mean, you have guys who obviously know this stuff, which brings me to, like, I mean, Matt and Dom and Chris and the team at Raw and Revive, such a great team. And, you know, my attention, you were talking about before, all these guys taking maybe different routes, classic physique, and you look at Bumstead. It's interesting that the most popular bodybuilder in the world is not an open guy. I would, at least in America, I would say that Chris Bumstead is by far the most popular bodybuilder in the U.S. today. Would you agree with that?
I agree completely. Yeah.
I mean, so, like, what does that say about the sport? Is it just, I mean, does that help it? Like, 'cause I mean, in the past it was Kai, it was Phil, it was Jay, it was Arnold, right? Like, all the greats. Now it's Chris Bumstead's line is longer than anybody's. He looks great. He could go up to the open. I mean, he's such a great physique. Is it a good thing that it's coming from a different division? Or would Brett like to be the most popular bodybuilder in the world again from that open division?
Of course, I'd want to represent and be the most popular, but, you know, that's a work in progress. But no, I mean, this is, you know, it all comes down to the time, you know, so we live in a different time, especially with, not only with, like I said, I covered a different division, so it's like it gains interest because that's more attainable, I would say. I feel like, you know, I would say Chris's most of his following is going to be like guys that are, you know, 17 to 25, you know, 15 to 25. Yeah. Which is fine. You know, that's a large population, you know, and that's good because he is a great role model to, I think he does everything the right way. You know, I mean, he explains, you know, and he's upfront about everything. You know, this is what I want to do, but I'm doing it the healthiest way possible. It's working for me. You know, everything. You know, health comes first. But, you know, he's still a savage though too. You know, I trained with him last week down Wednesday, and I was extremely impressed with not only like his strength, but also his attention to detail and his efficiency in training. Because, you know, I kind of like, he plays off this, you know, persona like, you know, I want to just be big, and, you know, I want to train with the big boys and stuff. But like, he can train, man. You know what I mean? So he has that bodybuilding mindset. But what makes him so special is that he relates to so many different, you know, genres, different clicks, you know, everything. So like, you know, those guys like coming from, where was he at Shark, whatever it's called, his first sponsor. What was that called?
Gymshark.
Gymshark. So, you know, he built such a following there of Gymshark with that, you know, those people. And it just continues to carry on. What also kind of goes into that is like I said, with the social media aspect, he's very capitalized on that. You know, he's very, very good at, you know, promoting, marketing, you know, showing himself. And the thing is, what I think what makes him so popular is just how open he is, just with his following. So like he wears his heart on his sleeve. And a lot of times you don't find that with bodybuilders. You know what I mean? Like you don't see any guys, you know, just talking about their life openly, you know, showing the hardships they go through, showing the tough times. It's all about only showing the highlight reels, the good times.
That's just social media in general for you, though, right? Like, that's what people do. They don't show you the bad side of shit. It's like, hey, look at me.
No, so I think that's what he's done great of is he'll show the tough times and the good times. You know what I mean? So it's a good lesson to learn from, especially if someone wants to build up their future with the media aspect. And then, you know, some shit I've kind of learned from him just being around him, and it's just be yourself. You know, I think like be yourself, and he just is himself, and he's the same way off camera as he is on camera, and that's very difficult in this industry. I've found out is like a lot of people are fake, but if you just be yourself, and if you have a good heart, like people are going to gravitate towards that.
Definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of people are fake. I mean, so the bullshit comes with the space, right? Like, I mean, you make one move, somebody takes it, runs with a story, says things. Maybe things are made up. It's just like, it's insane. I mean, does the bullshit just drive you absolutely insane?
It's something it's definitely something I'm learning. You know, it's something new to me.
Right.
Because, you know, I've kind of been, you guys know my story. I've kind of just always been behind the scenes, building up to the point. So now all these things that are happening is kind of new to me, and I'm, you know, dealing with in regards to like, you know, and I knew this time was coming. I said this a while ago. I was talking with Yvonne and friends and stuff. I'm like, eventually there's going to be haters, you know what I mean? So like, I'm prepared for it, and it just like people that want to get involved in your life, like they have no idea who you are, never met you before. And it kind of blows your mind, but you gotta realize that's part of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very good with, I have good mentors, like with Phil, with the other people around the industry that, have been through all these things and like can, talk me through it as well as give me advice on how to handle it. And it's been great. So like, it doesn't really bother me. And like, if you know me personally, I'm someone that, I can take a lot of beating on my own, you know what I mean? Or whatever. But, don't talk about my family or my friends or whatever. But like, I kind of just play fun with things. So like, I'll comment back to mean comments or whatever and just fuck with them, just for fun.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm good at that because I know, deep down, I'm just a guy that loves the process, man. I love bodybuilding. I love the process of bodybuilding. Some people get way into this that it's like fucking war or something. It's not war. It's just I'm just trying to beat myself each time. I'm not. You've never heard me talk shit about anybody. You've never heard me say I'm gonna go beat their ass or whatever because you never know. But like as long as I keep doing what I'm doing and progressing as I am on my trajectory, like those things are all gonna happen, and I'm just gonna take it step by step.
Yeah, we had a question. I mean, somebody wanted to know like what really happened at Hostile, and I said, "What the fuck does it matter? Like, why is it any of our business? It's a sponsorship deal. It has nothing to do with the caliber of athlete Brett is, and like what you hold in regard. So it's like I don't care. I mean, it'd be like if you decide like, hey, Ryan, Danny, I want to go to a American Dream Butter or whatever. Be like, all right, man, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal. But I mean, people are just so. I mean, they like to consume all the stuff that they want to be involved in your life, and they want to know every little detail. When quite frankly, it's none of their fucking business.
Well, social media is like the new like gossip, right? Like instead of magazines and all this stuff, like now people can dive into videos and stuff on social media and just dig in deeper and try to like find more gossip behind that.
Well, not that. Then they'll do a story and for clicks, and then they'll probably say things about you, Brett, who is just like again the nicest guy in the world, and it's like, guys, can we find something better to talk about? Like, if you put as much effort into your personal life, maybe you wouldn't be so pissed off at the world. Like, put that effort into something that actually matters. So I'm happy. You're in a good spot now, man. I mean, you're with obviously Jansen being your coach.
Oh, yeah,
Revive Raw is such a great company. How has that transition been for you, going over to, I guess, a familiar family of yours anyway?
Yeah. So, I mean, getting back to what you said, it's like people love drama. And they love drama, especially on social media because they can sit on their couch and use their thumbs to act like they're involved or get involved. And that's just, that's like I said, you just got to get used to it and realizing that. But the realest people know that, like, if I made this decision, there's a lot behind it. There was no bad bearings on me or Fuad or anything. That's why, he hasn't said anything. And it's just like, I approached him. I said, you know what, like we were at a renegotiation point and I just decided, we needed, and there's so much more that went into behind the scenes is like, we wanted to move. So we were already thinking about moving and, our lease was coming up at our place. We were going to go into, the next level of what we wanted to do. And then like, just thinking there, I had about a week to decide. And that's when I approached Matt with everything because this is more so about my personal journey. And like, you can't be like, you can't, I'm not going to base the rest of my life off of a sponsorship. You know what I mean?
You can't.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I need to base off of what I am going to do and what's going to make me the best bodybuilder as soon as I can be. And that's going to be getting down there in front of Matt, getting down there, building content and the marketing things that they have that environment down there. And I'm just going to explode down there in more ways than one. And then also it was a lot about like life after bodybuilding. It's like, there wasn't, right now I'm just doing the coaching and training out here, plus obviously sponsorships, but I need to start setting up things for the future after bodybuilding because, I have 6-7 years left, so it's like I need to start that initiation process. And down there, I have ideas that I want to do with Matt. They're always, you guys have seen it, they're always expanding into new companies, ideas and everything. So I want to get in on that. And so I can set up, my family, my financial freedom, my future. So it just, overall, it just all made sense. And that's why, I approached it to him. And, even at the time, Fuad was, he understood why. We were cordial, and then we moved forward. And like I said, they're moving forward with a good team. He got Nick, right there. So it's like, your guys are good. I'm, this is going to be best for me. So we went our ways, and now I'm in a really good position moving forward. So that's what I was doing before this is getting, a home set up now.
Yeah.
We're going to go down there and purchase our first home. So that's also very exciting with this.
Exciting, but stressful.
Yeah. No stress. But yeah, I can't wait to get down there, get settled, and then start preparing for, something later this year, or either early next year. But I just know that like every venture that I'm involved in with bodybuilding, with the work, with the jobs, and everything is just going to, progress very rapidly here moving forward. And that's why we do this,
Yeah, and I think it's excellent. I mean, Hostile is a great company. There's nothing bad we can say about them. All their supplements are great. Fouad's great. Summer's great. Like, the team up there is awesome. But it's just been a crazy year for you because it's been like drama's been following you for no reason whatsoever, whether it was the Nick thing and they're trying to pin on you, and then this. It's like, oh, man. And you're watching Nick Trigili say all these things too. And like, it's just, the sport sometimes just drives me insane because it's almost like TMZ to some point. It's like, let Brett live his fucking life. Like, I mean, and it's funny because you were just on a podcast, I think, with Dom and Matt, and you said exactly what you just said to me about, you were trying to set up life after bodybuilding. And I don't think Dom had heard you say that before, or at least in the initial conversation. So he was like, I made the best decision. Like, this is the best decision we've ever made. We got a guy here with a proper head on his shoulders. And I remember speaking to you at the Olympia, and you're just like kind. I mean, you really do care, obviously, about your personality and treating people fairly. And, I was just watching a thing a couple weeks ago, and one of the guys said the best advice ever is be careful of whose toes you step on the way up because they're attached to the legs that are attached to the asses that you're going to kiss on your way back down. So basically treat everybody with respect, right? And I feel like you've done, at least from us and from what I've seen, on social, that's like a key characteristic of you.
Yeah. Like I said, it goes back to just keeping it real, man. Like, that's how I was raised, especially coming from the Midwest. I was very fortunate to have some extremely good parents that, taught me how to treat others. And, and for me, with my story is like, I was in a lot of people's same shoes just, 4 or 5 years ago. And then just through the continued work, just through time and consistency in this bodybuilding lifestyle, I've been able to reach where I am at, and, I still have a lot more to go, but it does really make me happy to see where we're at and as we continue to move forward here.
Talk about your childhood. Talk about your upbringing in the Midwest and how important that is, instilling work ethic and other traits that you need to be a great bodybuilder.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was a 4-sport athlete growing up. That was all it was sports, man. And like, my dad was actually a PE teacher, and he was a coach of, me and all my buddies. So we had this like elite group of, friends, tight-knit group that just grew up together, went to the state championships in different sports, and then that transpired into college football. So like, that's what I was all about, is like, the team aspect, as well as just working for what you would get. I just remember we worked hard. Like, we were good kids because like, that's all we wanted to do, is we wanted to be, victorious, whatever sport it was, or just be winners in life. So like, we didn't party. We didn't get into those things in high school. It was just, if we weren't at a practice, we were working, outside of practice together, with my father and things like that to better ourselves. So that's kind of like, those things I learned that. And then in college football, like, those transpire so much into real life. And you guys know this too, especially like entrepreneurs and being a businessman or owning a business. Like, you got to be willing to like grind your ass off with no return for a long time. And, you guys have experienced that, a lot of hours behind the scenes where, you don't get any recollection for it or any benefit from it at the time. So that's what, those are some of the qualities I learned at, coming up through sports and things like that, especially with college, with that team atmosphere. And then I applied that into competing on my own afterwards. So when I got done with college football, I was like, man, like, I don't know what to do with myself. You know what I mean? And I was a little undersized back then, surprisingly or not. Like, I kind of wanted to go next level on things, but like, I was like 165, 170 pounds when I graduated college. I was just very shifty and quick football player. But like, that's why I didn't like pursue anything later. And so that's honestly what led me into bodybuilding, because I was like, I just want to focus on my own, like, getting bigger with more muscle. I do enjoy this stuff. I went to college for it. I mean, I studied, obviously, exercise science. That's what I meant. And it kind of went hand in hand. I started my own little journey there. And then, then here pops in the wife 2 or 3 years later. And then she taught me what true bodybuilding was and what true eating was. And then, then everything kind of took off on our journey from there. But it all kind of comes down to your core values, what you were always part of. And I still, like I said, I still have great connection with those people that taught me so much. And then I just want to hold to myself that way.
It's interesting because Phil, obviously somebody super close to you, played college basketball. Same thing, right? Like, I mean, he was a baller. I don't know if you ever seen like Phil in college was a baller. The dude could ball out. It was unbelievable. But I mean, same as you. Like, I saw a picture of you like when you're younger, and it's always funny to see the transformation of college athletes to bodybuilders because it's just remarkable. Because you have the genetics to put on size. You just never lifted and ate that way before because you didn't have to.
Right.
Did you enjoy the weight room with the football team?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but that, like I said, it was all centered about performance.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So
it
different.
wasn't about like hypertrophy or any individual movements, or like everything had a purpose on the field. So that's why I built that up first. I actually worked in the strength and conditioning department. They wrote training programs, so that led me to, it was an easy transition. It's just a different training style, just slowing everything down, being more specific, knowing what you're working instead of just trying to squat as much as you can, for one rep. It's just a whole different game. But the bricks were laid, the foundation was there. And then, like, I think obviously, like you said, I think it makes, I continue to say this, I think if you're an athlete, especially growing up or in college, or even after that, you have such an advantage going into bodybuilding because of also the mental side of things. Phil really has shown that like, if you're mentally strong as an athlete, in a different sport, it's going to transfer over to bodybuilding. And we know how to work. We've been doing it our whole life. Like this isn't new to us. So the only difference is the extreme dieting. We had to learn how to do that because we never did that in those sports unless you were like a wrestler or something.
Right. But
I think it's also that's an advantage because you didn't have to grow up doing, you didn't start at a young age like dieting all the time and things like that burn you out. So when you when you get to this point with bodybuilding after your career, then it's a much easier transition.
Danny, how do you think Brett did it with his first posing session?
Oh, well, I think having athletic background though, like posing does probably come a little easier, right? Like,
how was your first posing? Like your first show?
Yeah.
Oh no. I mean, it can't. You can say it's a little easier because we had like fine motor skills and stuff, but it wasn't pretty. Like, it was okay, but
I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt.
You definitely had to put some work on it. Yeah, but posing is it's like an art. It's an art in itself, and then it also kind of goes hand in hand with a little bit of dancing. You know what I mean? Like some of the best posers are not saying their whole routines are dancing, but they're also good dancers because they with their transitions and everything like that. So it's something I've had to work on because I was never a good dancer. But it's it definitely like it makes it fun because that's what it's about, is just showing off all your hard work.
Yeah.
And like I said, once you and like just telling beginners here that are up and coming, it just like I said, just give it time. Enjoy the process because it will all come together. And like you said, you just enjoy it. Practice it just almost as much as you are with the training, and it'll just feel right.
All right, man. Arnold Classic, your first big stage, national TV. I mean, we bought the pay-per-view because we couldn't be there. I tore my bicep like 2 weeks before the damn thing. And then, so we watched you and we were excited to see you. 6th place finish. Tell me about the experience, man. I mean, it's you had a lot of hype going into the show. A lot of people are on Team Brett, us included. A lot of people saying like you're a dark horse. And then, now you get a year to grow. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, but like, just walk us through that process and that experience for you.
So yeah, like you said, I mean, like I was very fortunate to have a very good fan base. I mean, especially, if you were there, my line was the longest at like to meet the athletes. So that was really cool to see. And that kind of just came into the hype. And that was, that was very exciting, but it was also kind of a first of like, oh shit, like there's a lot, last time it was just, no one knows who I am, so just come out here and do the best you can. And then it turned into like now you're talking about being top 3. So it's like,
dude, they were saying they were saying you could win it. Like that's gotta be fucking awesome to hear that.
Yeah, and that's great. And like the main thing is like the pressure never really affected me because I'm very strong mentally. I like to like nothing changed with me. I was very relaxed. I was very no cortisol leading up to the show. I was very confident. Obviously we just didn't do what we needed to on our sides in regards to the peak. And then like the last 2 weeks of preparation, we were kind of going for, and I've discussed this, we were kind of going for a bigger look, just to kind of keep up with those bigger guys like the Samson, the Steve Kuko and stuff, because those guys are like 30 pounds heavier than me. And, it didn't quite work as well. You obviously saw the improvements with size, but with that, we sacrificed a little conditioning. And that's, and that's what kind of frustrated me. And like, and that was my decision as well with Matt. I was like, let's shoot for 250. That was kind of our goal the whole time. And what we found out is like, I would have looked much better. I personally think I would look better at like 245, 244, 5-6 pounds lighter with a little bit more focus on conditioning as well, instead of, fullness and size. But you live and learn. Like I said, that was my second open show. And, I'm not going to beat those guys solely on size just because I know that's not how my frame is. So I need to focus on beating them in other areas like I've done, with that debut coming out, just razor sharp conditioning and got rewarded for it. So, that's led into me. Like I'm more motivated than ever now because I do need more, I do need a little more work. That was a good, like I said, that the whole weekend in general was a great experience to show where I'm at, I consider myself, after that show, 8 to 15 bodybuilder in the world, in that category, in that group, but I want to, obviously my goal is to be in between that 1 to 6. So I'm just, it's back to the drawing board. It's back to work. I need some more tissue, especially, I know the areas bring up my legs a little bit, and then it's just going to be focused on bringing that sharpness. So that's leading into like, with this move, we got such a game plan ahead. And it's just, I'm going to get the work done. And the next time it's not going to have to worry about size because I'm going to do what I need to this off season, this grow period, so that I'm not going to look at the scale. It's just going to be like, hey, we're going to get as conditioned, as sharp as we can be. And then my work this off season, this new tissue added is going to reflect that and show out, when we need it. So it's, like I said, the overall, I think, for me, the whole weekend was a very great experience. It's a good decision on my part to see where I'm at, put me up against some of the best bodybuilders in the world. And then the whole weekend in general, just meeting all the fans, being a big part of it and being like, a favorite, that just, it's going to also work on the marketing side of things. And then now moving forward, it's exposed me and now people know who I am. So it was I considered it a great weekend, a great experience. And it also, kicked me in the butt of, hey, we know what to do next time. And so let's just get it done.
Dan and I both had the pleasure of training with Matt. Matt was our coach for several months till we found out we were pregnant. Then we had to call off prep.
I was pregnant.
Just the most remarkable thing in our life. But his training style, completely different. His nutrition and training, everything was completely different than we were used to. How has it been working with Matt? I mean, I think he's one of the most brilliant coaches in the world.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, not everyone knows this, but Matt's the only coach I've ever used.
Sure. Okay.
So,
okay.
I can't really compare it to anybody, but it's also because of just the relationship we have formed, and I'm someone I'm not huge on, going to multiple coaches because you need that time, you need that time for the coach to learn your body, to see how you react, to build that relationship, to build that trust. And, we've done that. And I have full absolute trust in him, and now he knows, exactly how my body works. And so it's just going to be a benefit moving forward. Yeah. But it's more so it's professionalism and like he truly cares. What people don't realize is like how much he actually cares about his athletes, how much he wants to see other people succeed. And especially with everything he's got going on, man. Like it's insane. I stayed with him last weekend and, he's part of 2 businesses. He coaches, amount of people. I don't, can't put a number on. I don't know how many people, but and he's a father to 2 boys. So it's like all these things he balances and then still gives so much effort and still gives so much care and to his athletes. It's just amazing. And like, he's just a great human being to be around. So, a lot of these choices is like, I wouldn't want to be with anybody else, mainly because of those things that I just described of just him as a person as well.
We're huge fans of your wife. We think she's great. Obviously you mentioned earlier that she kind of was the one that introduced you about eating right and all the good stuff that comes along with bodybuilding. How taxing was your Arnold prep on her and the relationship?
I wouldn't say that. Honestly, what I learned more with the prep and like I said, you guys don't really know me in regards, but like I'm actually a really good prepper. Like the only thing about me is I just get more quiet.
Okay.
I just get a little bit more quiet, especially at night. I just want to sit on the couch and watch something. I don't really want to talk, but I never show too much. I never get worked up about anything. My stress is always kept low because like I said, we sign up for this. I'm very good at reminding myself, like especially in the hardest times, is like I'm choosing to do this, and I know what the benefit, I know what the outcome will be. So just get through this time or this place, and it's all gonna be good. There's bigger things in life. So I'm very good at doing that, and so. Obviously she took a hit of, we're not doing as much social things. I'm putting more time to myself. So obviously there was, some difficulty there, always in a relationship. But like we've been doing this for 8 years now, so we know how it works with each other. What I'm most impressed with, what I was getting to, is I really saw a transformation in her this year because I think a lot of people, especially like the immediate fans and stuff, don't realize that Ivana is like a top tier athlete.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She got she got
Oh,
sixth at everybody. She got sixth at the Olympia a few years back. She's won 5 pro shows. It's figure. But like now, she just turned 30. We're thinking of ahead now in regards to children. We want children in these next couple of years. And I really saw like a light switch flip in that she realized she's looking more long term now. So she took that role as being like a very supportive spouse, as well as like almost kind of like an agent, kind of take care of a lot of things during this prep. And then her setting herself up. Now she's training differently. She's looking at maybe doing a wellness show next year. So she quit training her upper body because I think we're using this as a transition into motherhood or our future, and so
that's just like a huge selfless thing to do. It's amazing.
Yeah, and so this too as an athlete, that's got to be so hard. Like because someday I'm gonna have to be like, okay, I'm gonna start taking a step back. That's gonna be extremely hard because of what we're used to. So she's done it with flying colors. I'm extremely proud of her. And like she was my biggest fan by far. I have to get her out. I have to get her out of the comment section sometimes because she wants to defend me and start yelling at people and telling Ivana, like it doesn't matter. I don't those things don't bother me, but she's a little savage, so it's fun to see her love and everything like that.
Well, it's been a joy watching you like maturate into this person that you are now, this pro bodybuilder, this human being. And it's exciting to hear that you guys are talking about a family because that'll be a game changer. Literally, and then happen down in Florida, which would be great. We obviously, for those listening, watching, like Brett is kind enough to be a rep. He's like our only athlete we have for Fit Butters, and we love him. He does a great job, and we're working on a butcher butter, which will be sick. That we need to work with you on and figure out what the flavoring is going to be. But you're talking about marketability, right? Like you have a Flavor Gang flavor, which is awesome. You're going to have a Fit Butter pretty soon. You're going to have T-shirts. You're going to blow up. I mean, as if you haven't already. So, the wave of popularity that came with you in, late 2021, early 2022, and then, take this next year to grow, do the Arnold again next year if that's your plan. And if it's not Olympia this year, Olympia 2023 would be, is that kind of where you're shooting?
Yeah. So, honestly, I'm chomping at the bit to get back. It's but with this move, it kind of slows down the process of the off season. So I'm not really going to start like pushing until we get down there and settled. I have a few guest postings you guys know about coming up and stuff. And so I want to, take care of that, do this little health phase I'm doing. But honestly, I really want to compete at the last show of the year this year. So I think it's in Spain. I want to kind of do an international travel.
Awesome.
But it's more so this one's just for me. Like I just want to go out there, show what I'm capable of. And, and if we, if all goes accordingly, win that, I would qualify. I think for next year, so we'll, like I said, it'll probably be next year regardless. But even if I win and qualify for next year, I'm still going to come out and compete, at other shows next year as well.
For sure.
It's just now I'm getting into that point of my career that I need to start hitting shows back to back. Making a name for myself a little bit more, and I just needed a little bit more work here to finish out this 22. And I think that'll set up really nice for the future.
Sick, dude. Well, we appreciate you taking time coming on the podcast, talking about your journey, your story. Excited about the next 3, 4, 5 years, man. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. And so, I'm excited, especially teaming up with you guys as well. It'll be really good to continue to, promote together as well as I use this stuff daily, so it's easy for me.
Yeah.
That's how good the product is. I have, I'm really focused on building my YouTube. So if you guys are watching this, check out my YouTube at Brett the Butcher. Brett the Butcher Wilkin on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll put it in here too so people can just subscribe right away to the podcast. And then what's your social handle so people can follow you on social?
Brett_Wilkin. So like I said, I'll be showing ways that I use the Fit Butter, especially on my YouTube. I'm doing about 2 videos a week. That's part of the process of moving down there. Is I really want to blow up the YouTube part of things, and I got I got it all set for down there, and so I'm going to keep showing how I do everything in the daily work, and we'll go from there.
Love it, man. Appreciate you, bro.